Welcome to Startup Spokane, where hosts Steve Traben and Megan Halsey explore the excitement and momentum growing throughout Spokane's expanding startup community. Startup Spokane is a joint effort between Greater Spokane Incorporated's Startup Spokane, our friends at Well Dressed Walrus, and Spokane Talks Online. Now, here are your hosts, Steve and Megan.
Welcome to Startup Spokane on Spokane Talks Radio, your podcast home for everything startup and entrepreneurship related in the Spokane region. I'm your host, Steve Traben, along with me, Megan Halsey. We're here to bring you information all about our region's entrepreneurial ecosystem. Startup Spokane is a program of Greater Spokane Incorporated, and we want to give you all the information you need so that you can launch, grow, and have a very successful ride or journey with your business. Megan, let's get our guests introduced and get this conversation started.
We are really excited today to have Chloe Szabo and Hope Morgan, who are from one of the winning teams from the 2018 Northwest Entrepreneurship Competition and the technology category. They had a company that they represented called Wild Ride. So we're really excited to have you both here. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, and I think we should start out. We'll come back and talk about you and your recent graduation, but let's tell everybody what Wild Ride is. So who wants to do the elevator pitch?
Sure, I'll give the elevator pitch. So Wild Ride is an iPhone or Android app that you can download on the App Store. And essentially it's for your Friday or Saturday night out. You don't know what you want to do with your friends, or you keep having that circular conversation of, where do you want to go tonight? I don't know. Where do you want to go? And so what we're really solving is this problem of people not being able to decide where to go or to find new fun places to eat. And then also for restaurants to have get new customers through their doors. So what our app does is you open the application, and then you can type in if you want to go to a restaurant, bar, or both. Then you can also select how much you're willing to spend. So $1, $2, $3, $4 signs. And then you type in some more preferences, and then we can find you a new bar or restaurant in your area, and then we will send you to your mystery location through Uber or turn-by-turn navigation. And you don't know where you're going until you get there. So it's a fun night out with your friends.
All about the experience, right?
Exactly.
Awesome. And so the two of you recently graduated from Gonzaga University. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So let's wind it back to where did all this come from? You're in a business class? Give our listeners kind of some perspective of how all this started and your journey.
Yeah, so Chloe and I, and then 3 other team members, we were all in an entrepreneurship class together in the fall semester at Gonzaga. And we kind of came up with this idea just in an in-class exercise, and we were just kind of working on it throughout the semester. And then in the spring semester, there's a class at Gonzaga called Startup Accelerator. And we were invited to take that class and really accelerate our startup. And that's what we've been working on for the past year now, is Wild Ride.
So tell me, how did you guys come up with the concept of Wild Ride, the idea of, a spontaneous evening that's planned on your phone?
So there was a in-class exercise in our entrepreneurship class, and how we did it is you would write just random words on pieces of paper and then tear them up and then kind of just jumble them up and pull random words and try to put them together and see if it would make an idea, or if you could get something out of it. So I had pulled Uber and roulette, and I put them together and came up with Uber roulette. I was like, well, how can I make this work? What would this mean? And then we came up with Wild Ride.
So it was like an ideation exercise, right?
was.
So you have these words. It sounded more like a ransom note, when you take letters and make that, but really it's ideation. So you take these 2 words and then you let that sort of free flow in your minds about what that might turn into. So did you initially come up with the concept, or were there lots of pivots or changes in direction as you came up with this idea?
Yeah, so we first started with just bars, and we were like, let's call it Bar Roulette. That's super fun. And then upon doing some research, we found that an app already exists called Bar Roulette that does the exact same thing. So we kind of thought, how can we expand this? And people want to eat at nice places too, and they want that experience with dining as well. So that's how we expanded it into Wild Ride.
So talk a little bit about 5 team members is a big team. How did you guys navigate the process of coming up with a consistent and cohesive idea with that many opinions?
Yeah, so all 5 of us were friends before, actually, and we just became team members in this class, and we're like, oh, like, we all are hard workers, we all have really good work ethic, like, we know how all of us operate, and we, like, wanted to work together, so we picked each other. And then as we've been going, it's been great having 5 members, because someone can work on this while someone works on this, and no one's really overlapping, and it's great because you can get more stuff done with more people.
Yeah, but there must be a leader of the group, right? I mean, someone in this...
Yeah, we all have positions. I'm technically the CEO.
Okay.
She's Chief Operating Officer. We have a CFO, and so we all do have our titles.
Great.
But everyone's doing everything at this point.
So you're in this class, the ideation class, right? Then you get to the accelerator class in the spring. At what point did you decide you're going to enter a business plan competition, the Northwest Entrepreneur Competition, and maybe others? Talk a little bit about what that looked like.
So we were encouraged by our professor to enter the competition. I was not aware of it yet until this semester, but we're really happy we participated. We had a great experience, and just finalizing a business plan and our little pitch video and then our actual pitch just really helped us hone our idea and make sure it was finalized and we were all on the same page. So it was a great not only the competition was a great experience, but also it was great for our company because it kind of put us all on the same wavelength value-wise and what our vision for the company was.
Yeah, and I think, your team, you're really unique because you are, all 5 of you graduated from Gonzaga just recently. You had intended to launch this business. This was not just an in-class exercise, right?
Correct.
And you even put your own skin in the game. So talk a little bit about your desires around that and kind of...
Sure. So we're determined to make this work. The 5 of us, we've all put in $10,000 of our own money. So we have $50,000 of working capital right now. And Chloe and I are going to be working on this full-time now that we've graduated. So this is our full-time jobs. We were given job offers that we've turned down. So we're pretty much like, we're making this work. We're determined. And the other 3, they're all working on this part-time. They're all still very committed to making it work, but they just had to take on those get jobs after graduation. But everyone's still completely on board, and we're going to do our best to make it work.
So how did the class help funnel the idea? What were you able to accomplish through the process of being in a class and focusing some of that work and academic time to that? What did you guys come out of the class with?
Well, our professor was just really, really helpful in everything we did. He has so many connections. He's an entrepreneur himself. And he was just able to connect us with everyone we need. We go, we need someone to write our terms and services. And he go, I have a connection for that. Or we need someone to get us insurance. Like, I have a connection for that. So he was really just able to push us in all the right directions and connect us to the right people.
And it sounds like, all of this has happened in a really short amount of time, right? The Spring Accelerator, at what point in the process did you say, hey, we are really going to do this and we're all going to kick in $10,000? Did you know that when you started in the Spring Accelerator, or was that something... Talk a little bit about how that came about.
So that's one of the conditions of being in the class is you can't take Startup Accelerator unless you're actually planning to follow through with your idea. And at the end of our fall semester, we just had a lot of really compelling feedback about our idea that we thought, what the heck, let's try it. And then through doing it, we were affirmed again and again. And so we're just, we're happy we went into that class. And like Hope said, other than connections, the Startup Accelerator class was really hands-off from our professor, and he kind of just, let us take full reign, and it was nice to have, those 3 credit hours that we could work on, our company.
That's great.
That's
so how about so far? You're really super early in your journey. So far, what's the biggest challenge that you've been faced with in this launch?
I would say our biggest challenge is finding the right people to do all the things we need. So right now we're working on developing our app and it's in the App Store, but we really want someone that can be on our team and do in-house coding for us and app updates and stuff like that. So that's one of our big challenges at this point is just finding the someone to do the coding for us.
Yeah, I mean, and today the gap is coding because that's front and center, and tomorrow it might be a CFO or right. So it's all about kind of getting access to the right team of people to help you along the path. And
so, have you had access to connect with some people who are coming on board as mentors or advisors for you that will help guide this journey forward?
Yeah, we have a big board of advisors, actually. Some of our professors are on it. We have another guy from San Diego who's the president of the Restaurant Association in San Diego. So anytime we're like, how would restaurants react to Wild Ride, or what should we change? Like, we can always ask him questions, and he's more than willing to help us. And yeah, we have a lot of connections. A lot of people in the community in Spokane are always willing to help college students. But now that we're graduated, we're kind of like, oh gosh, like, are they still going to help us?
Yeah. Well, and I know, and I'll speak for Startup Spokane. I know you've been meeting with Megan. We're going to talk after our break a little bit about the Mind to Market program, which you've been accepted into recently. So there is a whole system of support that's really ready to wrap their arms around you. And I'm curious, before we go to break, are all of you from Spokane, or where's everyone from on your team?
Oh, I'm from San Diego.
I'm from Gig Harbor, so south of Seattle.
Okay,
We
and
have, Cody, he's from Denver. Stephanie's from Portland, and Max is from Anchorage, Alaska.
wow. And you've made a commitment to stay in Spokane, the two of you, work on this full time to launch Wild Ride. So quickly before we go to break, how about let's give you the opportunity to tell people how to learn more about Wild Ride, or where to find the app. You want to throw out
So
some?
you can find Wild Ride on the App Store and on Android. Just type in Wild Ride, one word, download it. It's working in Spokane. And then if you want to learn more about us, we have a website. It's wildrideapp.com.
That's great. And if you're really fortunate, you can actually get yourself one of these snazzy bracelets,
Yes.
Vinny, if you want to show the bracelet. But anyway, that's all right. Listen, we're having a great conversation with Hope Morgan and Chloe Sabo, recent graduates from Gonzaga University, founders of Wild Ride. And you're going to want to listen to the rest of our conversation when we come back on Startup Spokane on Spokane Talks Online.
Hi everyone, I'm weather forecaster and assignment anchor at Spokane Talks Online, Colin Pittman, and I am honored to be the host of the new program, Spokane's Youth Spotlight, brought to you by Spokane Talks Online and the Spokesman Review, where we are interviewing and getting to know outstanding youth in our community each month. If you'd like to nominate someone in our community that you think should be recognized, that is doing something great here in the region, or has an amazing story, visit SpokaneTalksOnline.com or Spokesman.com and look under Youth Spotlight to nominate. And be sure to tune in each month as we find the best in the Inland Northwest.
Hi, I'm Larry Myers, owner of River Ridge Hardware. Welcome to our garden center here on the corner of Garland and Driscoll. We have fresh plants that come in weekly from all of our local growers. We can make your garden look like our garden. Here at River Ridge, we've been here 30 years. We're your full-service neighborhood hardware store. This is our sprinkler aisle, where my knowledgeable staff will help you put together your sprinkler system so it will make your yard lush green for the spring and summer. This is River Ridge Hardware's rental center, where we provide a multitude of equipment for rent for the do-it-yourselfer. Next time you're working on your home or yard this spring and summer, stop by, say hi, and we'll help you get the project done.
See you tomorrow night, and thanks again for taking care of the painting.
I got this.
Bye.
Weekends are made for painting. Let the experts at Rada Paint take care of you.
Hi. This looks amazing.
Rada Paint, over 80 years of quality, tradition, and trust. Find it in every can.
Welcome back to Startup Spokane on Spokane Talks Online, where today we're talking to Wild Ride. Chloe and Hope are co-founders of one of the top winning ideas from the 2018 Northwest Entrepreneurship Competition. So what we want to talk a little bit now about is how the launch is going.
Yes, so we had a big launch party on May 4th. It was really fun. We had about 200 people come out. We were incentivizing people to show up with some alcohol and free beer for the Gonzaga students.
Yeah.
And in order for them to get in, they had to download our app, like us on Facebook and Instagram. And we encouraged people to take wild rides after the party to go out to dinner or to go out to more bars and restaurants.
So your product, I mean, you're launched, right? I mean,
launched.
the app is up, it's running. You actually have done rides?
We have. We've done
Talk
about
about
50 rides in the
Wow.
past 2 weeks that it's been out.
That's great.
So how do you guys make money? I mean, I'm excited about the experience side, right? But how do you make money off this model?
So we're going to make money eventually, and how?
Well, that's always the hope.
So
Yeah.
we're kind of copying.
Sorry.
We're kind of copying Open Table's business model, where for Open Table they charge the restaurants about 75 cents per person that they use to make a reservation. So we're kind of going those same lines where we're going to charge the restaurants and bars $1 per person that we drop off. And we feel like this is fair, and it's a little pricier than Open Table because we're bringing them customers that they would have never had before, had maybe never even heard of their restaurant before, and we're guaranteeing that they're going to go there.
Gotcha. So I don't want to make an assumption, but the app is working, so that's the ride part, right? That's getting people to the establishment. Am I probably correct in assuming that the application development work that's underway now is to figure out how the transaction works with the restaurants and bars, or has that already been developed?
We already have the transaction part all figured out and incorporated into our website and our app. But right now we're focusing just on getting more customers and people to use Wild Ride. And we're hoping in about the next 6 months we can go to these restaurants and bars that we've been sending people to and say, hey, like this past 6 months we've sent you 100 new customers. Have you noticed? Do you want us to keep sending you customers? And then if so, sign up for Wild Ride.
Okay, so now it's becoming clear. You're not actually charging them today. You're building up, you want to show them some success
Exactly.
and give them
Right.
some data that says, hey, because of Wild Ride, we're seeing incremental
Exactly.
flow of business, and because of that, there's value, and we're willing to pay $1 a person or whatever, wherever you end up.
I think that's great.
That's
so
awesome.
how do you choose the restaurants and the bars that you're using?
Sure. So we have gone to a ton of restaurants in Spokane. One of our main criteria is that they have a 4 or 5 star rating on both Google and Yelp. And so that ensures that even if we haven't tried the restaurant ourselves, that majority of the time it's going to be a quality restaurant. We're not going to send our users to some, not great establishment. So those are the main criteria. Other than that, we have all types of food, all price ranges, and that's what's great about our app is, you can pick your price range. And
Yeah, so can you walk me through what it would be like for that experience? Because I would love to have any of our listeners to go out and download Wild Ride app today and maybe give it a try this weekend. So tell me a little bit about, if I'm a user, what does it feel like when I go through that process? What choices do I get to make to help narrow that selection?
Sure. So right now it's pretty narrow choices. So at first, we thought, okay, what if they want to pick all these, if I want to go to Italian food, but we really wanted to see if it truly is a mystery, how people like it. So the only choices you have right now are if you want to go to a bar or a restaurant, and then kind of your price range, and then you also say how many people are along for the ride. That way, when we order an Uber, it's the correct size and all that. So yeah.
And what if I don't want to take an Uber? What if I want to be able to drive myself?
We absolutely have the technology for that. So yeah, you have an option between Uber or drive yourself, and either way, the destination, even if you scroll out on the map when you're driving yourself, it's still kept a mystery.
Oh, fantastic.
That is really cool. And so how many people to date have actually downloaded the application, which I have downloaded myself, even though the camera's not on me, but that's okay. I just wanted you to know I'm one of your downloadees.
Yay.
We have over 500 downloads right about now, and that's with very minimal marketing. I mean, we just graduated on Sunday, and we've been taking finals, so we really haven't even had time to market. But with that, just that little amount of time, we've had 500 downloads.
Wow,
That's
that's
great.
amazing. So, okay, 50,000. that you've put in yourselves. You won a few $1,000s at the Northwest Entrepreneur Competition here a few weeks ago.
Yep.
You're also raising some money in the middle of all this. I know that you were invited to present at the last Spokane Angel Alliance meeting. Talk to us about how you're using the money that you've raised thus far.
Well, we haven't raised any outside money. It's just our money right now. But we're using that money for app and web development, and then marketing, and then just general like business costs. So like we had to get incorporated. We've been hiring some lawyers for certain things, and just general business costs.
Yeah, good. And what, since your app is already developed, what's the next stage of app development? What features are you adding?
Yeah, we have so many ideas for all the stuff that we want to add, but one of the main things that I specifically want to add is, say right now we have a 15-mile radius from your current location, so it won't send you to a restaurant that's more than 15 miles away. However, say you want to go downtown for the evening, I want people to be able to drop a pin into the downtown area, and that's where we'll bring them. And additionally, we also want the feature where if someone hates seafood or they hate sushi, we want them to be able to check the box that says, don't bring me to sushi.
Okay, good.
That's a
And
great idea.
how are you managing containing the market? Because I make a lot of assumptions. Is this a Spokane-based app today with the opportunity to scale and expand? So talk a little bit about how there's someone in New York right now downloading your app that wants to go on an experience.
So
Probably
as
not gonna
of
happen.
right now, because we're in our testing phase, we are manually inputting every single restaurant because we
That's
really
what I
want to tailor the experience, make sure it's a good experience. So most of it has been in Spokane, but we have, Hope is from San Diego, so she's put a lot of San Diego restaurants. I'm from Gig Harbor, so Gig Harbor, Tacoma restaurants are in there, just so our families and friends could also test it out. But yeah, right now we're just really honing in on Spokane as our test market.
The plan is to expand it, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Would it be fair to say that at some point you're not going to necessarily be out recruiting restaurants and bars? They'll be able to sign up themselves,
Yes,
right?
that's the goal.
That's the goal.
If right now we're using Yelp integration, so technically if a restaurant has a Yelp account right now, or they're featured on Yelp, they can be featured on Wild Ride. And so that's kind of the goal, is eventually restaurants will be asking us to be featured on Wild Ride.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
very
great.
cool.
Let's shift gears to Mind to Market.
Yeah.
I understand that you were
got accepted.
recently accepted into the Mind to Market program,
Yeah, yesterday.
which is great. So you're
Congratulations.
going to be assigned an entrepreneur in residence, who
It's
I
already
understand has already happened, and you've got a top-notch gentleman, Scott Rosick, who
Yeah.
is comes from the
Serial
software world, and so that'll be great. What are your impressions of what that experience will lead to? You have any thoughts about?
Yeah,
or
well,
hopes?
winning the Northwest Entrepreneurship Competition, we got 2 months of free office space with Startup Spokane, so we're excited to use that. Like right now, we're just kind of working out of each other's living rooms and coffee shops. So it's great. We got to tour the facility and check out like the conference rooms and all the office space, and we're excited for all the connections that it will offer us.
Great. Yeah, I think that'll be a really important part. And there's a funding component available with it as well. So, so as you're kind of going through this first step of building out your company and your application, I mean, there's an opportunity for additional funding through Mind to Market
it's
as well.
Very exciting, and that might be just the piece that you need to kind of get that moving. So I want to talk a little bit more about kind of the marketing. What are your strategies? How are you going to reach out and pull in more listeners, or more users, excuse me?
Our main thing right now is just social media and just spreading the word, Instagram posts, Facebook posts. We also have the ability to send push notifications, so if someone has their app downloaded, we can say, hey, it's time for a wild ride tonight, like who wants a drink? We've also been hoping to get some influencers on board with us, because everyone always has Instagram, and if someone posts about Wild Ride, we're like sure that people will start downloading it.
So hopefully anybody who is listening to the podcast can help us with that and help share Wild Ride and post about it on Facebook or like it on, Instagram or what have you. So yeah, I think that's a great resource for you guys. So very exciting to see what's next.
Do you want to dive into, again, kind of your big focus next is on app development, and I think you've already experienced some of the challenges as a startup of working maybe with one app development company and maybe having to make shifts. I mean, have you had any of those experiences that you want to share? Or?
Yes, it's definitely because all of us are business majors. We don't have computer science degrees. And so, we went into this and we have had a pretty good experience overall. Some of the challenges, though, have been we have one idea. Communicating that to the coders can be difficult because what we get back is not exactly what we wanted. So that has definitely been a challenge. And I think having someone on our team that can, oversee all the tech stuff for us would really, really help us and help us focus on the marketing and the business side. Because right now we're kind of all doing all of it.
Yeah, so you're actually looking to bring someone into your team to help lead that process.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, but I think at this point we're going to have to kind of wrap it up. And so I want to just give you one more chance to pitch where people can download or check out your app. So if you guys want to share that information.
Sure. So available on both Android and iOS markets. So if you have an iPhone, just go to the App Store and search Wild Ride, one word. Should be the first thing that comes up. Google Play is the Android side, so Google Play, type in Wild Ride.
It's a great app, by the way.
Yeah,
and I've got the bracelet to match. I am a fan.
It's live. Go for it.
Very
Take
exciting.
a shot. Yeah.
So wildrideapp.com is the website as well. And so thanks again for joining us today at Startup Spokane Radio. Thanks again to Hope and Chloe for being here and telling us all about Wild Ride. And we are happy that you were able to join us as we share the story of entrepreneurship in the Inland Northwest, and hope to have you join us for future Broaden podcasts as we bring you future stories about other successful entrepreneurs and information on all those resources we have in our area and so much more. So thanks again for joining us at Startup Spokane on Spokane Talks Online.
See you next time.
Startup Spokane is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksOnline.com, which is a joint effort between GSI's Startup Spokane, Well Dressed Walrus, and Spokane Talks Online. Ask a question, recommend a guest, and hear this program again online anytime at SpokaneTalksOnline.com. We wish you a great and profitable day.